The Grade Cricketer is a Twitter stream. It's about playing cricket at the grade level.
Boys! Get a few today, did you?
To be honest with you, I hate grade cricket.
I went into to play for a team called the name escaped me.
Obviously, sharing's always a big issue for young kids coming into a senior cricket team.
Take it was like a whip sleeve.
A bit of advice to the player. That's all I want.
I refer to the great cricketer here and I'll say, this'll do a little bit early.
I don't know what episode this is of the Asian Century, but it's another chapter, a historic victory at the Oval. India win by 157 runs thanks to some Jasprit Bumrah dominance. Jonathan Liew is on the show to talk about that. Fawad Ahmed is on the show to talk about many other things. Will the Taliban let Australia play cricket? Dale Steyn retires from cricket this episode, as they all are, brought to you by Budgie Smuggler. Use the code CHAMP for free custom design. BudgieSmuggler.com. My name is Ian Higgins. Sam Perry is he. Good afternoon, Pezzy lad. A big 24 hours for us.
It is a big 24 hours, yeah. Some stingy eyes. But,
yeah, why do your eyes sting when you're tired?
Why do they sting?
We did a live stream last night, little watch along on the YouTubes there for day 5 up in London, and we saw it all unfold.
And there had been allegations that us doing a live stream caused a jinx effect on India.
Yeah.
Those people who said that were wrong. Jinxes don't exist at all.
Except for Jinx Rahane.
He still exists
Just about.
Just about in that team.
Will he play another game ever? Pez, we got a question in via Patreon from Ben.
Yeah.
He didn't want to give any more information, though he's nicknamed his sign-off with Tomo, so make of that what you will. He said, boys, not an AskTGC. I'll fucking tell you what it is, Ben. But I thought this might tickle you.
That's the way.
I was out shopping for furniture in Brisbane recently and saw Marnus and his partner in the same store looking for a dining table. Marnus proceeded to lift the table from one end and commented that it was quite heavy. I was glad to see Marnus applying the same approach for selecting cricket bats to other wooden objects. They left the store soon after, so it mustn't have been a good pickup. Cheers, Tomo. Spying blokes in public. I like that kind of gear.
I like when Marnus is picking up this table. He just somewhere in his peripheral, there's a bloke standing there facing him, full body facing him, just observing the way he's picking up a table.
Yeah.
And doing a calculation in his head. What's the joke here? Yeah, the joke is pick up. Yep. Straight on off the TGC, boys. Oh, he might have sent it to a lot of people.
Yeah, but Marnus was putting a grip on the table as well, so there's that.
The table's quite heavy and walked out. Heavy tables are sort of, it's a sign of a good table, isn't it?
A heavy table.
Yeah, you don't want a light table.
What's this, 210?
Yeah. I'm sure it works the same way. I noticed the other day, speaking of Marnus, he goes that Redlands grade cricket was on KO.
Yeah.
Yeah, bit of grade cricket, Brisbane grade cricket on KO Sports.
Yes.
This is non-ad, by the way.
No, but did you also see Crush Craddock did a thing that he was saying that a certain batsman for Redlands had requested the club open up at 6:30.
That's right.
I don't know what kind of club this is. Is this like a gated community? What's going up there with Redlands? The Tigers.
I saw this.
The Tigers? Redlands Tigers?
I think that's right.
I think that's right.
Yeah. I think that's right. Yeah, he wanted Marnus wanted a 6:45 a.m. net.
Yeah.
Before
first grade.
Which sort of created a lot of questions for me. And I know it did for you as well, as reflected in a tweet. But everyone reacted, isn't that wonderful? You know, he's Marnus, he loves the game. He loves the game so much, and such is his dedication to preparation.
His thirst for runs.
He's bloodthirsty. He's prepared to have a 6:45 a.m. net. And let's be honest, in the 3-format cricket world, with just endless content, you need players who have that level. I think like it gives me an element. It makes me feel safe that him and Steve Smith love batting so much.
Mate, if your number 3 is doing that shit before a grade game, that
That's
makes you feel good.
That's what you need. So let's just say that and then park it to the side and start asking some questions.
That's right.
Who has a net at 6:45 before a game? I don't care what fucking level you play.
A fucking Fruit Loop.
Yeah, takes all the PR. I'm sure he didn't. He just wanted to have a net. But let's just say he's taken all the PR from it. Everyone's like, isn't this wonderful? Yeah. What about the unsung heroes?
Yeah, now we're talking.
What about the unsung heroes of a 6:45 a.m. net? So as you pointed out, who's the nameless 4th grader throwing in balls?
That's right.
Why doesn't he get in Crash's article?
Marnus wouldn't even know his name. Call him mate.
Let's go more than this. Who's setting up the nets?
No, some nameless volunteer.
When you played...
Faceless volunteer.
Faceless.
Faceless, no face. A man with no face.
When you played, did the club have to erect the nets every Tuesday and Thursday, or did faceless people do it?
No, it was just a bloke who came down to training in shorts that were just a little bit too small, a little bit too tight. He used to do it, and then used to just watch from the hill.
Yeah. Was he a teacher?
He used to be.
So one guy could set up the nets at was it Chatswood where you guys trained?
Yeah. No, it was more than one person.
Did the club have to do it? That's what I'm asking. Like, if you got down at 4 o'clock, if you didn't have a job,
club, like is that like the government? Like, is it a representative of the club? It was just like a volunteer, just training.
But
volunteers.
did players is what I'm asking.
Oh, yeah. That's why you never used to get there at 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, a lot of
Worst
people do.
thing you
A lot of people were hanging out for 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I did for about half a year in my first year. And I worked out.
Yeah.
I worked out what social strata that puts you in.
That's right. Yeah. Social strata.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you end up batting first against blokes who get there at 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
You don't want that.
They're just other batters, so you're not facing like 15 minutes of off spin from number 4s in 5th grade.
I still remember like having to set up the nets at Drummoyne, and it was quite a sort of unwieldy thing to do, like opening up the what do you call it? It's not a cupboard, like whatever
a shed.
But the receptacle that held the nets at Drummoyne, right?
Yeah.
And
they're like a big locker.
Yeah, like a big metal locker.
Yeah.
And so occasionally the ball would hit it as well, but and then you'd pull out like an absolute jumble of fucking net, and like
it reminded me back in the day before AirPods existed, where you had to get the iPhone headphones with cords, and it's like, oh, now I'm in a big tangled web.
Exactly.
Of lies.
Except there's like 20 headphones in there.
Yeah.
To untangle.
And there's always one bloke who just thinks he's got the golden arm. It's like, oh no, you just do it this way.
Well,
do you?
And this is what I wanted to say. So like, whenever I was putting the nets together, like, it was always encouraged that you did these 1%ers to help the club go. It's like, no, this is what you do. You do the covers, you get the nets.
This is how you play first grade.
This is how you'll be appreciated. There's no way you're being appreciated for that.
Last thing
you're being denigrated.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
All that appreciation is superficial.
It's actually a humiliation ceremony.
So you'd be there doing it. I'm the least handy person of all time, apart from digital elements.
I hate practical things.
Yeah.
No good.
You can sort out the internet around your house. I think you're a 21st century handyman. Just give it to yourself. But anyway, that's another argument I've had at home. But
don't bring your home life to the workplace.
I'm a 21st century handyman.
Yeah. I can get the internet up.
I'd be there holding the nets and stuff. I had no idea what was going on, or I wouldn't want to make any decisive actions with it. And there were 15 other guys who felt the same way. It's the same with covers. But there's always one guy who knew how to do the nets, and that was his thing. That was 75% of his identity.
Yep.
And neither he nor the club know how critical he is or was to making the club work.
Usually he worked in some sort of landscaping field. Definitely drove a ute. Always had dirty hands.
Yeah. Thick hands, calloused hands. You wonder where those hands had been.
He was another teacher.
But really good at putting the nets up.
Really good.
And anytime you tried to make an action, you don't do it like that.
He'd dad you. Oh, yeah, I'm not that. Oh,
really
Dad.
make his fucking hell. Yeah. I remember a player at our club actually said that to me. Like I would have been 19. He's worked me out in about 3 weeks. Gee, you talk a lot, but you're not very practical, are you?
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Fucking hell. That's the gambit you make. I mean, you make one mistake in this life.
I couldn't really.
Club cricket training.
Couldn't
Jesus.
argue. Oh yeah, one mistake. You're not meant to make any mistakes. You're meant to be the most homogenous, unseeable, blended in man possible.
What were you like at covers duty? That was the thing that I hated the most at the start.
When you say like, what was I like, as in how available was I to do it?
Yeah, so there's 2 elements. There's weekday covers, so like Friday night covers.
Yeah, Friday night covers. Yeah,
and then there's Saturday morning covers, which is everyone's sort of. If you're late to that, then you're like, oh, you're not a team player.
Yeah.
When actually what you actually are is that you're smart.
Yes.
15 minutes late, I'll accept the fine.
I would help on Fridays when I was younger, doing like uni or something like that, and I was around the corner from the Oval. Like I would do it, albeit reluctantly, but I would do it. But I wasn't driving around picking guys up. Go, come on, let's get the covers going.
No. Mate, the amount of times I would have done covers with one other person.
Yeah.
Now that is some backbreaking work.
Yes. And then when I was in the team doing it, like on a Saturday morning or something, I was quite a passive participant, but a participant nonetheless. But I'm never pretending for a second that I was going to basically traffic, like sort of be the traffic instructor.
Yeah, okay.
Of covers. All I learned was that if you were ever trying to direct people around how to fold covers,
yep,
you had to do it decisively.
Now,
and you had to disagree with however the other person wanted to do it. Or you're doing it that way. You're going lengthways, are you?
Yeah.
No, you don't do all that.
One of the great alpha face-offs is when two teams on a Saturday have to help with the giant covers, and it's like, let's get both teams out there. Now there's two captains who are peacocks competing against each other. A couple of bulldogs having a big old standoff.
Yeah. Around how, and folding is really that's the territory upon which they peacock.
Yeah, and now you're standing too close to the opposition, which you're not really comfortable with. Because
you might even know them outside cricket.
You may well.
You may be great friends with them, but they've got different training gear on. The colours on them are different.
Colours.
Yeah,
different colours. Boo.
They're all good. It's like kids from another school at the school social or something. Yeah, it's just a bit off. I mean, they're exactly the same people as you. They could have gone to your school, different world. Yeah, they could be in your team, but they're wearing different colours. They've got different sponsors on it. You don't recognise that sponsor.
Different sponsor.
Raby McDonald's.
Yeah, from a local part of their community. Yeah. It's like, no, that's foreign to me. No good. Yeah. Don't trust it.
Stone Mason something. Rain and Horn. What the fuck's that? I'm not used to wearing that.
Lee's Fortuna Court. Yeah,
you know.
Nancy's Rub and Tug.
They didn't need any.
Parramatta Road.
Lee's Fortuna Court didn't need any advertising. Everyone knew fucking who they were. North of the Harbour Bridge. Yeah. That was always strange.
He's wearing red and white. He's an absolute fuckwit. We're wearing red and green. We're good blokes.
You always get jealous, and then guys from the other side will be helping you with the covers, and they seem to be enjoying themselves more than you.
Yeah, they're much more bonded.
Yeah, and you're like, what jokes have they got? Those jokes seem good, or are they just trying to look that way so that they look like they're peacocking us humor-wise?
But then you look at them and you're like, that's a strong club. It's a nice community there. I didn't play fours there.
Yeah, and then
I shouldn't go there.
Do you think that's just an illusion and they look at you the same way? Or they're just like, this is a fucking shit club.
Mate, the amount of times I saw guys get 100 against my club, and I thought, mate, that does not count. That is,
yeah. If you knew us.
I say this every week, mate. You just happen to be the faceless guy from the opposition this week who scored 100. Yeah.
But it's actually it's a mirror image. They just say what you're describing there, and just the entire thought process of what do these guys do? Like you could. That's how you fail in cricket. You just talk yourself out of succeeding.
Yeah.
They look better than me. Why are they wearing that? Those sponsors look weird to me. You look at the guys who succeed. They just don't. The ignorance is bliss. They don't think about these things. You know.
Oh, look at that captain. He's a leader.
That's right. Oh, his shirt is white. How does he wash that? Do you have that as well? Or?
Mate, the amount of teams that I played in, I would love to face our bowling.
Oh, mate, exactly. Yeah, anytime, because I've changed clubs once or twice, and you really aren't scared of your old club.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. Anyway.
And that's Marnus playing grade cricket.
Hey, it's been a great show.
Hey, he got Khawaja out. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to get into England-India, the fourth test there, wrapped up last night at the Oval. Obviously, we're doing our dailies. We did a live stream last night. You can find all of that on YouTube. The dailies, the audio, you can find at patreon.com/greatcricketer, as well as hashtag AskTGC Fridays. Episode 50-something coming up this week.
50-odd.
60-odd.
Yeah, close 60-odd, yeah.
All right. England, Pez, I'll tell you how it goes. How do you want to do this? You're just going to the chronology of the innings? Just sort of walk it through like that way? How do you want to do it?
Oh, we've been talking about it every single day.
Yeah. Well, England won the toss. They chose to bowl, and then they rolled India for 191. And at that point, you might have thought, India are right behind the 8 ball here. I actually thought 191 was a really solid score, and it kept them alive because we saw in the last test match before when they got rolled for 60-something. 60-something? No, 78. It was Bangladesh who got rolled for 60 the other night.
I thought it was New Zealand.
No. Well, that was the day before.
Everyone's getting rolled for 60 or 70 over there.
It's actually a good score.
Yeah.
And we should celebrate that.
Yeah.
Woakes forfeit. Woakes returning to the team. Shadil Thakur 57, Kohli 50, 191 kept them in the game. And then you think this is England's problem, it has been for ages. You got to fucking cash in that first innings. They scored 290.
They were 5 for 50.
They were 5 for 50. Sure,
60.
Woakes 50, Ollie Pope 81. His first score above 34 in about 9 years or something. Boys Yadav 3 for. I think, this is what Joe Rudd has said after the game as well, that's where you got to cash in. They should have won the game in the first innings, and this has been England's problem, as I was saying before, for so long. First innings runs, they so rarely score more than 250, let alone 300. They scored 400 in the last test match, and they won that game by an innings. And there's no coincidence. First innings runs absolutely enormous. For the first time in a long time, Joe Root hasn't gone past 50 in a game, a couple of 30s in this game.
And that's why this game's Root's fault.
That's right.
Everyone supported him in that first. There's a couple of guys who were prepared to chip in. Pope 81, Wokes 50, Moeen 30 odd. You know, they did their job.
Yeah.
But where was Root's 100?
And then it just all turned around. It just all turned around. Then
It got fucking flat.
It did get very flat. India 466. Rohit Sharma with his first away Test century, the 8th of his career, I think. His other 7 are in India. We've obviously seen him do wonderful stuff with the white ball. 5 World Cup centuries in 2019 in England, but away from home, red ball cricket, not his strength. Averages like 29 or some shit, 80 in India. 127 for him. India 466. They set England 368 to win, and then another turnaround from India.
Well, England were 77 without loss overnight going into the 5th day. So it was 291 they needed on the 5th day on a pretty docile wicket. And 2 blokes, I mean, you have to start. You always have to start again.
Start again, boys.
They took the score to 100. So really it was, 260 odd and with a fair bit of cricket to play and no real sign of swing or seam, especially not seam, and minimal movement.
Yeah.
But then a bit of gas taking started happening.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, Hasib Ahmed, who's done okay in this game. He's actually had a pretty decent summer. He's got himself back into the Test lineup. He's scored
a 40 or 50 and a 60 now,
and he scored 100 for that county 11 against the India game in the warm up game. Got 100 there. He's batted well here, 63. But he started to tread water a bit. Then he'd run out Dawid Malan. He played a shocking shot almost earlier. Should have been caught, and then he sort of Jadeja got him out of the rough, I suppose. But
he played a terrible shot. He ran out Malan, and then he looked like his head had gone. Really, he was 60 off 190 rocks. People were like, "Well, are you going for this or not?" There's glass in the shed. Well, when he got out, and again, well done to him for coming back from where he's come from. He averaged 10 for about 17 years.
Yeah.
But it was one of those dismissals. You're like, okay, well, he needed to get out.
Yeah.
But it sort of felt like it just started the vibe. And India, we've said before, India's a vibe team. And from there it was sort of pretty regular. India just strangled, and Michael Maguire, the West Tigers coach, when he was coaching South, brought a boa constrictor into the dressing room.
That's right.
Sheds once to teach the side about what it's like to strangle another team. He actually just got a snake that strangles.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine he's consulted to the Indian team because they strangled from there with a boa constrictor. That's the confluence of my influences in life, watching Tiger Town and Indian cricket.
That's just professional sport, isn't it? I could tactically show these guys, or I could just bring in a snake.
Yeah.
Got to show them.
Apparently metaphors are a thing. Why don't I just do it literally? I wonder what the boa constrictor was actually strangling.
Yeah.
Did you have to
a batsman down the leg side?
There you go.
Hasib Ahmed, they were on commentary last night. They were talking about how low his hands are in defence, and there's no doubt he can look pretty solid. But they were talking about what his struggles could be in Australia, where it obviously bounces more. Well, it used to before the AFL took over, and there's all drop-in pitches. But yeah, he's busted his hand a few times. I don't know. I still look at the England top 3.
Yeah,
I know. I rate Rory Burns. I think he's going to score thousands of runs for England. But you got Burns. Dom Sibley's still in and around the group. He'll come to Australia.
They're not necessarily around him at the moment,
no.
But if they got him back, they will be in and around each other.
And then Hamed, I don't know. I mean, this, again, just come back to that first innings. Again, it's England's problem. No first innings runs. And without a spinner, I mean, I don't know what they'll do. There's a bit of talk going around about Parkinson playing in the 5th Test match at Old Trafford. And obviously he played great cricket out here as well. So that's a great preparation for Test cricket. But without a spin and without runs, great result for Australia overnight because India won by 157 runs. But the whole story of the game is Bumrah's spell, 6-over spell on a flat pitch, and he got it reversing. He fucking put it into the deck. He absolutely rock and rolled Ollie Pope, and then he outskilled Bairstow with a sublime Yorker. Coley said it's the top 3 bowling performances he's ever seen.
Yep, just going to say that. Oh, yeah. I think that the spell last night, coupled with the result, begs a question about where Bumrah's sitting now, in the world. I mean, I think he was among the best, but it's sort of him and Cummins now, isn't it? And
yeah, well, I mean, I feel like Rabad hasn't played a game in a long time. The West Indies got Kemar Roach. He's towards the end of his career, I suppose.
He's just got that X factor, Bumrah. You know,
and it feels like Bolton, Southey, and Wagner. They're much more of a pack. They're a great bowling unit. The Indian team are a great team, and their superstar is Kane Williamson. But I don't know. I mean, it's nice of them to get 2 Test series for all eternity, despite them being the best team in the world.
Yeah, it was one of the best spells like I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and
it was quick.
Yeah, it was quick, and just the nothingness that it came from. You know, it was truly game changing just off the back of what he was able to do with the ball. Because he doesn't, Bumrah is not demonstrative. He doesn't have to yell at people. He doesn't stare at people. He doesn't try and intangibly make things happen.
Well, you say that there was a bit going on at Lords. I mean, Anderson said that he wasn't trying to get him out. He was buying deliberate no balls, and he was trying to kill him. So there was that.
And that's what I like about him. Like he's got all of those things in his locker without having to like look like a coat while he's doing it. Yeah. Basically. And most of the stuff that he does is just absolute skill with the ball, and it's everything. Like it's pace, it's bounce, it's movement, it's Yorker, it's thought. It really is the full package, and it's better because it looks like he's clip-clopping in like a horse before he bowls it.
I was thinking about before, like India's now respecting New Zealand. They fair and square won the World Test Championship final. They were the best team, but India are better. It
just goes to show.
And I feel, I know you're about to say. I feel like though that this feels like it's more than like a great South African team in the early 2000s or the great England team when they came to Australia and they won in the Ashes, ascending to number 1 in the world. This feels like it's the start of something because there are guys like Bumrah, who is, how is he, 27? He's going to carry the team for a long time. And then because of India's fast bowling ranks, they can now beat anyone all over the world. Yeah. And also the demise slowly of Test cricket feels like it's harder for other nations to ascend back to number 1. It feels like it's going to be more than like a 2-year, 3-year reign where like one team is the best team. This feels like it actually might be genuinely like a 10-year run of like a dynasty of like a really great team in all 3 formats. Is that overstating it? I feel, mate. That's how I feel. I mean, watching them last night, especially winning in England, where they haven't won since they've ever won in England. 86, I think it is.
They've won some series in England before, but I think you're right in the sense that like that win at the Gabba, and look, there's still a game to go here, but they've knocked them over at the Oval. They're 2-1. They can't lose the series. Like they sort of seem to be breaking certain backs that they've not been able to really break before, and the question of how long they can sustain the reign, I think, is less to do with like this, there necessarily being a golden generation of Indian cricketers, but more like one country's system seems now geared towards consistently producing unbelievable quota of players to come in and out of that side whenever they need to across all 3 formats. I mean, look at that; they are covered in every skill area, India, and cricket is on the ascent, and their ability to organise to create great players is on the ascent massively. You can't say the same thing about Australia and England, I think, whose systems are more about trying to funnel the best players from young to the top so that they can compete against India's worldies, but everything underneath just feels like it's being hollowed out, and the systems are kind of, they're still holding on at the top, but underneath it's getting pretty shallow with 3 format cricket, with the competition with other sports, and with Netflix. So like in terms of a reign, that's kind of the fear or the excitement, which is just like India is coming, and these are just little examples. I think Barney described it as, that the hot loss at Hellingley was like a bump in the road on the way on the to the eventual place they're coming. And this team, I mean, they've got weaknesses, and England's exposed them, Australia can expose them, but it just feels like he's like Ajinkya Rahane. There's a bit of pressure on his spot. His average probably isn't good enough for who should be batting number 5 for India. What there's probably no concern over is that someone will come and be able to do it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. In Australia, if we had a guy averaging...
Like, but who?
Exactly. Like, who's coming through? In India, it's like, mate, take your pick. Mate, go out into the street. Someone will be able to do it. Yeah. And that's why I think... That's why it's the century,
Yeah. I was just thinking because if they win in England, they win this series. They've obviously won in Australia the last 2 times they've been out here. I was just thinking, like, what's left? Because, they can beat anyone in Asia. They can beat the West Indies away from home. Are they still going to South Africa? I don't think that might be a bit on the cards that they might be off. Anyway, they're supposed to go to South Africa. If they win there, then like that might be the last place. But then I was just thinking, no, but They got fucking pumped by New Zealand in New Zealand. And so is that the last place? But it's like, okay, when do they go there again? New Zealand are going to India next year for it's either a 2 or 3 test series, so which will be great. But can India go to New Zealand? But is New Zealand now the last
bastion?
Yes, bastion. Yes, thank you.
That's the stupidity of this game. That New Zealand have knocked over India in the World Test Championship final. Now, realistically, like for the integrity of who the best team is, that should be a series. You know, I understand it probably doesn't stack up commercially. In fact, I'm sure it doesn't stack up commercially.
And with the calendar and shit,
all of that sort of shit.
Yeah.
But it's a series that kind of sorts the wheat from the chaff in terms of how you play.
Yeah.
So it's so stupid. And such a shame that we can't watch New Zealand in 4 test series, you know, or 4 or 5 test series to see how they go. When you can build up all those narratives, build up the dominance that a player might have over another player, expose weaknesses. And I'm sure no one feels that more keenly than New Zealand, you know, who would be so keen to prove themselves in those situations. But while they can't, we're always going to have, you know, a little bit of like, oh, we love New Zealand, but, you know, they only played 2 test series.
Yeah.
You know?
Which, well, I mean, both things can be true. I wonder as well, if New Zealand will ever get that recognition where they do eventually get like a 4 or 5 test series against, you know, one of the other 3 big teams. But by that stage, like Bolt, Southey, well, BJ Watling's already retired, Wagner's 36, Kane Williamson isn't that young. And so like this whole generation that's been building for years, Ross Taylor as well. I'm not sure how old Henry Nichols is, I think he's younger, but they've got this like great team who's been building for ages, but by the time they might get a chance to play 4 or 5 test series, then like all those guys would have gone and they'd be a much weaker team again, you would think. Although at the moment, New Zealand have got great depth, especially in pace bowling, but you take my point.
But they've, I mean, New Zealand only have to arrange their side to win in the conditions that they're given to win, whereas I think part of the excellence of the Indian team, and people will say, oh, well, you guys are just pandering to India. I mean, it really, you really can just give them credit. I mean, the beauty or the triumph of what they're doing is what they're able to do outside of the conditions that are home to them. You know, that's the mark of a really good side. And they go to flat wickets India where it's all pretty neutral and they can winkle out a team. They can score the runs they need to score. They can do it away from home, you know, in really foreign conditions. You can't really say that about any other side.
When was the last side that came to Australia and beaten Australia twice in Australia? Okay, for that first time, sure, if you take Warner and Smith out and Bancroft, then it's going to be easier. But they still did that. Then they beat us fair and square last time with the B team, C team. And then who else in the last like 50 years has done that and then gone win in England? The same generation of teams.
I mean, South Africa were good for a while there.
South Africa were good for a
able
while.
to do that shit, and obviously Australia beat all comers for a period there as well.
Sure.
So, obviously, you know, the game was notable for 4 things. Rowe hits breakthrough ton, Shardul Thakur as Mr. Clutch, Bumrah taking his career to the next level, and from England's side, Javo. Yeah. So, and wouldn't you love a schooner with Javo?
I could think... what I would do is I'd break the glass and then I'd stab myself in the eye with it.
Yeah, yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason,
because that'd be a funny prank.
I can imagine him at a school reunion, you know, like still wearing the white Slazenger trainers that he wore on the Friday or some shit from Sport Direct. Yeah. No disrespect to Sports Direct, it's just where you get those trainers.
This is where you get them from.
You know, like just showing an old schoolmate. He's like, oh, he's me on my YouTube channel. Like, I bumped into a guy called Bairstow. He's a polite person, just like old schoolmate. Just like, somebody get me away from this man. Yeah.
Why do you smell funny? We haven't done it yet, but hopefully it lines up. Jonathan Liew. First time I've ever spoken to Jonathan Liew, which is exciting. Wonderful writer for The Guardian. And here he is right now, Jonathan Liew.
Jonathan Liew is a sports writer at The Guardian, like so many. We're long-time admirers, and it's an honour that he'd make the time to join us today. And genuinely, when I was put in touch with him, I really thought I was hassling him for about 3 or 4 weeks before getting him on. But then I just had a sigh of relief because when we got online, Johnny, you said you had at least heard of us. So, you know, we're away.
I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. But, you know, I've you know, all the merchandise, all of the various accoutrements. I am a fully, you know, signed up member of Grade Cricketer Inc., the corporation, the kind of the digital brand. No, it's a behemoth. It's made its way all the way over here, and I'm very honoured I'm equally honoured to be here.
All right, well, you were there. Let's get to the cricket. Can I call you Johnny? I know everyone who knows you call you Johnny. Can I call you that, or I mean, are we on that level?
Yeah, Yeah,
Okay.
no, that's fine, Johnny.
Okay,
That's
thanks.
my mum calls me. My mum calls me John. My friends call me Johnny, and people on the internet call me other things.
Yeah, been there. Hi, Johnny. Well, it's the day after India England. It's quite tempting to couch these games like this in the broader context of India's ascent to infinite cricketing dominance, and so it's easy to forget there was an opposition as well. You were at the ground yesterday. Should England be disappointed they let it slip, or were they just swallowed up in the Indian avalanche that we're all helpless to stop?
I think they will be disappointed because there wasn't anything inevitable about India's win. I know, targets of 369 are basically theoretical, but the conditions were there for them to bat out the day. Certainly, with Hamid and Burns and Milan at the crease, there was a really decent chance that they could have just seen off the old ball, seen off the new ball, and then it would have got very desperate for India very, very quickly. But as we've seen over the last few years, they are just not good enough to do that. England don't do that. England haven't batted out the last day of a game for a draw since Auckland in 2013. I think every other test nation, pretty much every other test nation, has done it since. It's just not a thing they do anymore. So there was a feeling of inevitability, certainly when Hamid goes, and then when Pope and Bairstow get bowled by Bumrah in that unbelievable afternoon spell. Pretty much everyone in the ground, everyone who's watched English cricket for any period of time knows where this is going. I think it's India were of course hugely impressive, but there was a pattern to it that I think was really familiar to watchers of English cricket.
Do we know, Johnny, how Overton's arm is? Was it one of those ones where, just like Siraj dropping a catch, he had to feign injury to hide the shame, or is the arm going to need to be amputated? Which one of those two?
Well, I think the word is he's probably going to be fine. They might, in the same way that Siraj had to kind of feign injury to preserve his dignity, Overton may have to feign injury to preserve getting, he probably would be dropped at Old Trafford. I think, given the pitch is likely to be quite dry and takes some spin, I think Jack Leach is going to come in, and Overton would probably have to make way. So I think that would be the more diplomatic way, I think, of dealing with things. Yeah, you got an injured arm, you just give that arm a break for a couple of months.
Yeah, I heard Ajinkya Rahane needs a rest as well. England's won test in 9, and I think I read that it's their worst return at home since '99 yet. But it doesn't seem that bad to me. Like that, they've got the best batsman in the world at the moment. They've got the best all-rounder in the world, albeit unavailable. They've got a deep pace battery. I know many of them are unavailable too. And Dom Sibley's, gone by the wayside for something a little more inspiring. They have so many mitigating factors at the moment, England. Do you think the results reflect where they, really are as a test outfit?
That's an interesting point, because obviously the injuries, particularly when you take the 4 fastest bowlers out of any side, Stone, Archer, Stokes, Wood, I guess, in the last test, and any side is going to suffer. And the problem is not so much personnel, because England have played and lost with all of these players. They've played and lost with Stokes. They've played and lost with Root and before him Cook, performing to a world-class level. I think the reason that this has not felt like such a shock is that this summer has been coming for a long time. They really sort of scraped by. They scraped to win. They scraped a 4-1 in 2018 against India. They kind of got away with it in the 2019 Ashes. So this is kind of a bit of a reckoning for them. And they do have talented players, but it's been a really long time since these talented players have had either the backup behind them to pick up the slack. I think the stat is that England have won 4 test matches this year, and Root has scored a century in all of them. They haven't won a test match without Root scoring a century since last summer. And being able to cohere these players. Bairstow came into the side again with no red ball practice and immediately gets promoted to 5 when Butler immediately gets promoted to 5, gets dropped down to 6 again, has to take the gloves, and that's been the story. As soon as somebody does well, as soon as a batsman does well, people want to promote him to number 3. Can he open? And it's this kind of nothing is settled or fixed. Everything is transient, and I think that's been the mood music of this side for quite a few years now.
Johnny, can I ask you a same theme, I suppose a little bit broader, like what kind of summer it's been for England? Because I wonder if that's sort of two-part in that it seems like the ECB might have had a good summer, especially if you're an executive for that organisation. Financially very rewarding. The hundreds was some form of success at least. But the playing, the one-day side, even with the C team, with an entire squad getting COVID, they still beat Pakistan. They played really well and they blooded some new players to keep the moods in the setup now, and that's exciting. But the Test side, they lost against New Zealand, and they're on the verge of losing another series in the same summer. So, is it sort of a bit of a dichotomy between like what the actual summer has been for England?
I think that's right. I think at a corporate level, especially given the financial ravages of COVID, it's been a raging success. Day 5 at the Oval was sold out in advance. It was sold out last week before the game had even started, which is it's kind of unheard of outside Ashes summers. The 100 has been a financial success. The grounds have been pretty much packed. So from that point of view, the interest in English cricket is still high, and I suppose in many ways that kind of vindicates the ECB's strategy of just throwing as much cricket at people as they can swallow, and never mind too much about the quality of the product, because certainly this summer, when people have been let out again, we've seen that they're not too fussed about the quality of the team that they're playing. They just want to go out and see some cricket. So that I think has contributed to this kind of confusion about what's happening now. What is the focus? Between up to 2019, England had a very clear white ball focus. Before 2050, they had a very clear red ball focus. What's the focus of this team now? Is it promoting the 100? Is it the T20 World Cup coming up? Is it winning in the Ashes? Is it there's no real purpose to this team, and that's why players are getting shifted in and out in formats. That's why series are kind of mushing up into one another, and it's really hard to define any sort of narrative around English cricket as a whole. It's more kind of a constant noise, which I think is good for ringing tills, but not so conducive to producing winning teams.
Just in relation to the Ashes, Johnny, we've seen this series swing a few times now. So at any given point, England have been either, unable to bat and overly reliant on Anderson. And then all of a sudden Root's invincible and England have a pace battery and they're sneaking up on India, and now it's gone back again and they're bad. So this is against the backdrop of Australia not playing at all. So therefore our country has concluded that Australia will win the Ashes 5-0. Have England got us right where they want us?
No. I don't think England have any. England don't have anyone right where they want them, apart from it maybe India. I think I say this. The Ashes has the feeling of two evenly matched sides, but as we so often see, when you mix two evenly matched sides with home advantage, it becomes a trouncing. And England haven't been good for a long time, and so I think certainly, given that Australia have home advantage, and given the fact that England may be travelling without, the likes of Butler, Stokes, Moeen, I can't imagine that doesn't get sorted. But it's not like the Ashes hadn't been played without a B teams in the past. So, given the fact that the history is so thoroughly dictates that Australia should be favourites. I can't see England winning at all. I can't see a path to winning. I can't see who's going to bowl the spin. I can't see who's going to take wickets with the old ball. I can't see who's going to make runs at the top of the order. Obviously, Joe Root will do something. Joe Root will probably make a doomed 180 at Sydney in a in a crushing innings defeat. England really specialise at scoring 400 and getting beaten by an innings. I think that's going to happen a couple of times. So yeah, I think the optimism level certainly on this side of the world is pretty low. But I mean, I don't know what I don't know where Australia are at either, apart from they're sort of getting bamboozled by various smaller nations on low turning wickets. But I don't know how relevant that is.
Just a final one from me, Johnny. Just as a follow up to that, I read Stuart Jeffrey's review of the Fever Pitch football documentary today in The Guardian. He includes a quote from a philosopher, Mark Perelman, who argued that today media are all united to make sport inescapable, so that everyday conversation is bloated with invasive logorrheic blather. So, as a guy that covers both football and cricket, where do you think cricket sits in that theory? It doesn't feel like it comes close to the Premier League in terms of its relentlessness, but some days it really does feel like there's just a lot of cricket a lot of the time. Yeah, I mean, that's partly a function of scheduling, but it's mostly a function of social media. You can make something a 24-hour blather. You can make whatever you want into a 24-hour blather. Just follow the right people and immerse yourself in it enough. Personally speaking, I like both football and cricket. I've always preferred cricket, but the dictates of the job and the country that I work in mean that I spend about 80% of my time covering football. And so for me, it's necessary. It's not just nice; it's necessary to actually take a break from 10 months of ceaseless football and cover cricket, which I much prefer. And after a regular sort of 3 or 4 month English summer, the reverse is also true. I like getting back to football and getting away from this noise and into the other noise. And I think it's a good strategy for people. It's not. I don't think it's a great idea to just immerse yourself in one conversation for so long. I mean, that's how. That's how 5G phone masts end up getting burnt down. You become immersed in this echo chamber very quickly, and it does feel ceaseless, and it does take a toll on your mental health and your sanity. So yeah, switch off social media and find Australia's very good at this. I think you have your cricket in the summer, and then you have your various other sports where men wrestle each other at various other times of the year, and you go to a different state, and they're all into something. It seems like you've got things pretty much sorted there. I think that's a good answer, Johnny. Thanks so much for joining us. No, I do. We should do football because when you were talking about one thing for many years, it felt a bit close to home. But
this is the third show we put out today.
Yeah, you said burn down 5G towers. What about just burning down nets? Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us, mate. We'll let you get on with the rest of your day, and hope we catch you out here in Australia if you get a chance to make it out.
I would love that. Yeah, cheers. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for the time, Jonathan Liew. Did that happen? Exactly. I always get scared because things can fall through, as you know. Pez, let's get on to Australia. And, what I respect about this leadership and governance, not the federal government, I'm talking about CA, is that they've told the Taliban, hey, we're playing this game, okay? We're playing this game.
A couple of custodians have just said, I saw a headline saying that, like, custodians issue warning to Taliban.
Oh.
Taliban.
That would be the politest email anyone's ever sent. To whom it may concern.
Dear sirs,
I hope this email finds you well.
Concerning the game at Belle Reeve.
David Boone will meet you at
You say Bin Laden lived around the corner for some nets?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. I wonder if he had a net.
Got the Taliban down there, the Salamanca markets. Head down to Mona.
Yeah.
Sure, they'd be welcome. So that's. There's a bit of chat there that game might not happen, though. I believe anyway that the Taliban are all clear. Well, they're all good to go with the test team, with the men's test team. Anyways, other concerns obviously with
so I've said.
Humanitarian issues, civil rights for women especially.
Well, women. The last time Taliban were in power, they didn't permit women to engage in sport or education. So people are like, well, what's the what's the moral stance if you engage with a nation that doesn't allow women to play? That's pretty much that's the moral question. The premier's involved. Peter Gutwin, I think, and he said he's got some concerns about whether the game should go ahead on that basis, but he's going to talk to the local Hazara community, see what they think, and he wondered whether it was still a confidence building thing that they play the game. I've no. We talked to Fawad Ahmed. We've already talked to him. He's got a view on that at the end of that chat as well.
But if we can just chuck some like Bet365 ads around that, we can just get that game going, can't we?
Yeah. I would have thought so. And there's some other shit about like what flag are they going to fly as well. That does sound scary. Some like Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan shit. But I don't know.
So bowl first, you reckon? Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Can you put the Taliban to me in great terms?
Was Bin Laden good off the pads? Fucking burn the net down if you had a bad fucking net. You want to steer clear of that?
Fucking hell.
Well.
Mate, let's talk about scarier stuff. James Faulkner's BBL contract saga. No, he was on SEN Hobart radio down there in
he sort of woke up to this on Twitter, didn't it? Like, it was just all these like quotes like Bin Laden,
Bin Laden,
Bin Laden and James Faulkner. Is that a net?
Fucking hell, yeah.
No, it's been a long night. James Faulkner, like the Neighbours style soap opera around his talking about getting knifed in the back and shit.
Yeah. The offer they gave him was disrespectful, embarrassing.
So the thing with Faulkner, he was on Jack Rewalt and Tim Payne's radio show in Hobart.
Painey and Jack.
Just imagining, you were saying the other day, just imagining
Jordan Henderson having a radio show on Merseyside.
Yeah, already Australian captain. Yeah, he's got my radio show. Guess they're not playing any cricket.
Yeah, he's got time for a part-time job.
He does, yeah,
or a full-time job.
So Faulkner was saying the first offer they gave him for the Hurricanes, I think, was embarrassing. They went through his manager, didn't even want to do it directly to him.
Yeah.
Then they upped it a few times, but it left a really sour taste. I don't know, I get the impression he felt like he was being lowballed out of Tassie cricket, and they're very proud in Tasmania. And he's obviously jumped on the line. He's expressed very fully his disappointment with the coach and mates who've stabbed him in the back. They've used his injury against him, according to Faulkner. It's very sad seeing those things, play out in public. Who you never know the full story with all those kinds of things.
Sure.
So that's why Adam Griffith is invited onto this show. But yeah, it's the dark side of someone coming towards the end of their career a little bit as well, and how organisations try and manage you out and how they do that. And it sounds like it's not being done very well.
It just feels like another chapter in like a very slow demise of one of Australia's brightest white ball players that we had in for like this. He had the hottest of hot hands for like 3 years, James Faulkner, between about 2012 and 2015. He was the man of the match in the World Cup winning final 2015 in Australia. Remember, like he won games against England at the Gabba, batting with like Clint Mackay at number 11.
Slog.
He was taking wickets, slower balls, lower order runs. He was a fucking incredible player for us. And then it just stopped really quickly. And he was down there in Tassie, and then he sort of just popped up in the BBL and sort of the consciousness anyway, because he stopped playing Shield cricket, and I know he's playing grey cricket or Premier cricket down there in Tassie as well. But it's just a really weird demise where you just feel like I don't know what's happened in his life, or if there's been injuries, or if there's been other struggles. I'm not sure, but it just feels like he's this guy who was like a world-class performer in one day cricket, especially 50-over cricket. And it's like, what happened to James Faulkner? That's sad, isn't it?
He'll probably get another club. I mean, he's been playing good BBL cricket.
Well,
he's over at the PSL.
He's in the PSL. I mean, he plays around the world. I mean, the Big Bash isn't that high a standard where like, oh, do you want a guy who plays in the PSL? Nah, not really. Nah, not really.
And
but he was sort of saying he wasn't that interested in going to another club.
He was on Tim Payne's show. I noted Payne on that show. And, this is what happens when there's guys who are still playing, or even in the case of Gilchrist, whose words carry so much gravitas.
Yeah.
You do a show every day. You have to talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
And I noted Payne's comments about England coming over for the Ashes.
We do a show every day. It doesn't carry the same weight.
Hey, these guys played threes. See them, my cricket? Careful what you say there, boys.
We're doing dick jokes most of the day.
Payne said an Ashes series for an Australian cricketer is like a final series for an AFL footballer.
Oh, okay, I understand now.
I mean, that's just so generous to the AFL, isn't it? Anyway, we defer to them at all costs and times.
Yeah. Should we You guys fine if we play our matches on this pitch here?
Yeah, that's
all
right.
good.
What if we just change the pitch a little bit? It's not going to do as much with the ball, but you just get guys who buy 140. It's all good.
It's like kill the game here a bit. But
Yeah,
it's all
that's
good.
right. The ball's got there's no character to the wicket or anything like that, but we can play a bit of footy on it. But he was talking about the England guys coming out here. There's still chat about what that's going to look like. And he said, this is his quote, for you to say I'm going to play most of the season, he's talking about finals footy, that kind of analogy. I'm going to play most of the season, then because I have to do 2 weeks quarantine, I'm not going to play in the finals. I'm not going to have a crack at winning a premiership medal or an Ashes urn. I find staggering. So he's talking about England guys pulling out.
Yep.
I know people are all slightly different. We've all got different circumstances, and my wife would hate me saying this, I would quarantine for a year to play an Ashes series. That's how much I want to play an Ashes series.
How many years? A long time.
Yeah, got kids.
You know, hotel room.
Kids mustn't be sleeping. I feel it. But I would have loved to have quarantined for the last year in a lot of ways as well.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just thought that was a little bit like insensitive to the experiences of guys who've like England have been backs against the wall playing wall-to-wall cricket in quarantine away from families.
Yeah.
I think Payne was questioning whether it was 10 guys who didn't want to come. I think he was more saying like, I'd be surprised if there are that many England guys who aren't keen as fuck to come and play the Ashes. So that's probably how he meant it.
But I don't know what it's like to be broadcasting and like wanted to send like fucking subs like when I'm speaking he's having a pop at them really isn't he? That's what's going on. He's like communicating what he's not really communicating.
I want to play the Ashes more than you.
You're weak and not, it's already sledging, you know. It's just what it feels like. I mean, the main thing we have to worry about is like some cunt on YouTube saying why are you wearing that shirt today. That's basically like
that is the main thing.
It's the main thing I have to worry about. Sorry, I've been a subliminal.
What did he say? Which shirt was it?
Yeah. You know which one.
I thought the mauve looked good.
Hey, Bangladesh, New Zealand is a series that's going on. And New Zealand are taking their absolute D team over there. And the series is 2-1 as it stands. Unless there was a game overnight, was there? No, it was 2. It's 2-1. It's 2-1. We're obviously right across this. But low scores continue. Now, we spoke to Simon Dool a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? And he was saying, like, in preparation for the World Cup in the UAE, he suspects that it won't spin nearly as much as what it does in Bangladesh and has been for the last, well, I guess nearly a month now, given Australia lost their 4-1. But there's just seems to be this sort of it's not an inkling, but it's you understand what I'm saying, like that. Oh, New Zealand have got bowled out cheaply here as well. Therefore, like it was okay that Australia got bowled out cheaply there as well. Like when the fuck have Australia ever compared themselves to New Zealand, and then that being like the marker of like, oh no, things are actually okay with Australian cricket because like, look, you know, England have lost their series as well, and like, oh, New Zealand are doing this, you know, so it's like,
well, there's been a lot of handbags thrown in the media in relation to the direction of the Australian cricket team, and those who are in support of the incumbents remaining in charge, you know, are pointing to anything they can to suggest that the Australian side is actually going well. I mean, it's very clear that they're not. The players have said so. That's not conjecture.
Yeah. And the players hate it.
There's
that as well.
That's more of a read between the lines, but it's true.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you sort of, it makes you sigh when you see stuff like that. You see people go, "Well, see, New Zealand got rolled for 60. We should be happy with our 62." That's a grim state of affairs.
Yeah.
Especially if New Zealand go on to win a few more games. But like, it also makes you sigh because you think you just know that like the next time Australia does anything good, the men's team does anything good in cricket, it will be used as a real like fuck you to anybody who suggested that things mightn't be going as optimally as they could or should in the side. But we've got all of that ahead of us because despite many protestations from the playing group and many others, it's been decided that the incumbents will remain in charge, and let's see what happens.
So, do you want to just go to Dale Steyn? Just quick on,
please.
Quick on before we get to Fawad Ahmed.
Yes.
Dale Steyn retiring from all cricket. We were talking about this in the live stream last night. Was just the numbers of it, like averaging 22.
It's everything. It's full package. It's full package.
Skateboarding, the surfing.
439 wickets at 22.9, so it's like enough said.
Yeah.
But in case that's not enough for you,
case it's not.
Also vibes. You know, like he brought anger, he brought vibes, he brought fear.
Yep.
It was the fast twitch of the thing for Steyn. Like just
it's He's a whippet.
Sometimes you watch quicks on TV and like you can't immediately discern that they're really fast, even though the speed gun tells you or the reaction of the batsman tells you.
Yeah.
You're under no illusions with Steyn. And it was very classical still too. Like it was fast twitch, but it was beautiful shape.
Oh, how's the action on it?
Made the action on it, the
You could
shape
set
on
your
it.
watch to it.
Made bumpers, Yorkers, and then just classic outswing nicks.
You know-
Like guys at slip, keeper standing far back. What do you need from a quick? Do you need anything else?
No, not mate, not for me.
Not for you.
Thank you though. Thank you.
I'll do anything for you.
You know, how like Brett Lee had a very aggressive celebration when he wasn't like doing the sort of kick up in the air with 2 feet. He was doing like the.
He was doing that.
He was doing the
lawnmower,
the chainsaw thing.
Oh yeah.
Steyn had the same thing, but why was it scarier with Steyn? Was it because Brett Lee's got some gorgeous eyes?
Because it was veins. Because it actually had varicose veins popping through his neck and his face. When he did, that's literally the answer. I know you're asking rhetorically. But the answer is veins, which is that's probably a genetic issue that he's got. But some people find that attractive.
When I think of Steyn, I think of him just nicking off Clark heaps of times and bowling Brad Haddin, and just like Michael Clark was a beautiful nicker of the ball.
Yes,
like
he
when,
was.
When he caught behind,
he was.
Geez, that looks good. It looked as good as what it feels when you nick off when you shadow bat, which is the right thing to do.
That's a
these
really
days.
good observation.
Square yourself up.
Beautiful nicker of the ball.
And Steyn had such a symmetrical action, and Clark was also so technically pure. And when he nicked off, he might have just pushed his hands out of fraction, but it looked so good.
Getting Haddin was good too because Haddin had some of the best hands in international
Very
cricket.
still base, Brad Haddin.
Still base, but if you were quick enough, like if you beat a threshold with Haddin, his feet stopped moving, so he would be splayed peg stepmom's legs, like. You know what I mean? Like if you were too quick for Haddin, it would be fucking pegs everywhere.
Yeah.
And
split pegs.
Yeah, split pegs.
Stepmom's legs.
Stepmom's legs.
Yeah.
It's fucking bingo night.
Yeah.
Yeah. And or he would nick like that as well. His hands would just be a little bit out in front of him. And I feel like that was Steyn as well. That was just what Steyn could do.
On like fast wickets, Graham Smith's covering 1 to 3. Boucher's there. He's saying some shit.
There's that one where he bowls somebody and there's stump mic. There's a stump cam, and he's like looking into the camera, like pointing his finger at you, like he's just hit you as well.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Year.
Yeah, good
what a
year,
player.
Steyn.
What a player. I wish he won more stuff for South Africa. I mean, it's a great South African team. I mean, they were the number.
He's been a World Cup.
They went, I guess so.
That's what I mean.
I guess so. Remember Grant Elliott hit him for a massive 6 in the semi-final? That's unfair to highlight that. One of the lowest moments of his career, I'm sure. Hell of a shot there from Grant Elliott. Hey, good shot.
The memory just does what it does.
Yeah, don't bowl there.
And it puts away a lot of memories too.
Oh, yeah, it suppresses a lot of things deep down inside. That all ball over one day in a shopping centre.
Hey, speaking of shopping centres, he goes. Our great mates at Budgie. Guess what? We're not talking about custom design anymore. You know what we're talking about? Socks. As Lieutenant Dan said, it's the most important thing. These socks, he goes, Budgie Smugger's doing socks, I should say.
BudgieSmugger.com. Use code.
Just they're Australian merino wool, right?
Yeah.
We've got them. They're fucking good.
Yeah.
They're
right here in the studio.
They are in the
Hold them
studio,
up.
if you're watching that.
Little pink number there.
They feel wonderful.
Little blue number here with some chilies.
On the feet. Merino wool is unique in that it absorbs odor caused by bacteria, trapping their smell and keeping them from building up. So you can wear merino wool odor resistant clothing for longer without having to worry about smelling.
Yeah. That would have come in handy for most of the guys I play cricket with.
Yep.
And I sort of distance myself from that as well.
We've been asked to model these with our feet, and I think that might be for the next episode. So we're a little bit behind the 8 ball there.
Sure.
But I'm happy. I mean, if people want some feet stuff, how do you go feet wise?
No good.
Care to elaborate on, or do you want to move on?
I don't know what you're asking me.
Just how do you feel about your feet? Where would you model your feet?
No
good.
No. No good.
I got.
No, mate, no good. Good.
The way you say it is it's such an Aussie way of like, you sort of say it with a pace that's encouraging me without saying it to start talking about something else. You know, no good. Just the way the eyes linger. Even my feet, I have like a gap between my big toe and my second toe. It looks like there's a toe missing. Just a big, I don't know.
Yeah.
Big thing going on there.
Talking about feet stuff now?
Yeah. Which is, well, we're talking about Budgie's merino. I mean, you can cover up your feet with these socks. That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah.
So Marino will sock
See
range.
how many people are going to ask for feet pics now?
No?
7.
I think your DMs and mine are quite different in relation to TGC.
I'll be the judge of that.
Just, okay. BudgieSmuggler.com.
Here he is, the great man, Fawad Ahmed.
Well, don't even bother listing the teams this man has played for. He has played for everyone. And in doing so, he's an international. He's a Sheffield Shield winner. He's a BBL winner. He probably has medals for many other franchises too in many other countries. He's also got a master's in political science and international relations, I believe. Unless, again, he's done some really good media work and he's got that out there and it's not true. He's one of the oldest roosters on the circuit as well, so we'll look after him. He's from the Brotherhood of Leg Spin, and because of all of the above, it's our sincere pleasure to welcome Fawad Ahmed to the Great Cricketer. Fuzz, g'day.
Thanks, man. Thank you, Sam. So thanks for having me. So I'm really excited. I've been following you guys for a while now. So yeah, it's an absolute fun. You bring, especially on the social media, especially on the Twitter. I got only Twitter. So yeah, to see a lot of stuff. So well done you guys, especially in this bloody pandemic and the lockdown situation. So yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome, mate. It's been so fascinating doing some research on you, and I know you've done many interviews to this effect. We always ask people, what's their relationship to grade cricket, and it just occurs to me with you, like most grade cricketers sort of studying at uni and working at office works part time. You were working in a warehouse and awaiting a verdict on your asylum claim while you were playing grade cricket. So, can you tell us about your relationship to grade cricket?
It was amazing. I was not even a grade cricketer. I was a park cricketer at that time. So playing for recreational cricket for Hoppers Crossing. So when I arrived to Australia, I didn't have any idea of what I'm gonna do. Language barrier, proper culture barrier. The whole system was something. I was like in a different world. I was like, if you take someone like on the Mars, and he will be just lost. I knew a little bit about Australia just because of cricket, watching cricket when I was younger, from childhood. So that was the only thing. But yeah, in reality, when you go somewhere and then you experience in a real life, is completely different story. Starting getting a bloody fun on the train with the wrong ticket, on the first day, on the first ride on the train. And it was just kicked off from there. And yeah, finding jobs, working in the apple picking on the fields and going to far, I think it was Harcourt, I think it's before or after Bendigo in Victoria, 2.5 hours drive from each side, working in cold winter. It was weird winter for me because usually it's summer back in Pakistan, and it was so weird talking to people back in Pakistan and family. It is June, but it's very cold and short days. It was, out of from nowhere. So, finding job, some warehouse jobs, different jobs, and playing for Hoppers Crossing. It's called park cricket or recreational cricket, community cricket, I would say. And then trying when I start bowling really well and went to one of the bowling net session with the Australian squad, So I thought, I can still bowl. I have something left there. There is some fuel in the tank, and I might be lucky to get there and to play maybe a game or two by that time with Bushranger.
Yeah.
And then I tried to get into the great cricket, to play. And it was an absolute pleasure at that time to play great cricket, because in a start I tried to get into great cricket, but no one said we're gonna support you or pay you with your visa or find you a job. They says great cricket is just to perform well, and it's like a stepping stone to play for Victoria. And then this how I went to Hoppers Crossing, and then finding my way back to in the start I did went for a trial with Melbourne Uni, but then eventually I got in there and played a few games for them.
Fawad, before you got to Hoppers Crossing, I'm just reading there was a great interview that Will McPherson, who's a friend of ours, did with you in the Cricket Monthly magazine in 2016, and you say just in terms of how you got into club cricket here, you tried to email every club saying I played first-class cricket in Pakistan, copy-paste. And do you understand that everyone plays first-class cricket in Pakistan, you know?
No, honestly, not everyone. But the thing is that, I did something wrong. I wasn't sure, it was the start of even getting into the email stuff as well. And I put like a CC as well, and I put emails of all the president, and it says you're sending the same email to everyone. So I got a reply from so you copy and you are adding all the president from other clubs. It would have been like not even just great cricket, from subbies, from park cricket, and it was just everyone. So it's just not like so it was funny. And then I think it was from Northcote Cricket Club, and the Dragons president replied me. He says, "Mate, you are saying this to everyone. I would love to play for your really nice club. I wanna play and represent your club. And I've been following the club. What's happening. I was literally going on the website of every club. How the club's going. But I didn't know what's going on. What's grade cricket? What's park cricket? What's community cricket? So yeah, at that time it was funny. I got some replies, but it never worked out. Eventually, I think I find out on I met a friend at that time, and he told me there is North Melbourne by that time is Greenwell Kangaroos right now.
Yeah,
they said they have like a trials, and they were just to start up the season, first ever. So I went there and went on the trials, and
which
the second
did you bowl in? Did you bowl in the third net, or did you bowl in the net?
No, I didn't know. They said come. I think it was actually trials. It wasn't a training session.
Okay.
So they was trying out some new guys, and there was their second 11 captain. He was moving back to Hoppers Crossing. So he played there for 10 years or something. And then he was moving back Hoppers Crossing. And then he was there as well to look on the few boys. He might sneak some of them. And I was batting nicely, bowling nicely. And then he says, what do you want to do? You want to play cricket? I said, yes, that's why I'm here. Even in VTCA, I think they were in third division, senior, North Division, North 1. I think we were in North 1 or something. So we were third division Hoppers Crossing. So I said, yes, I want to play. And he said, what you want to, how much money you want, and I said, oh, well, I don't know. I didn't know anything, And I remember, I think they offered me $3,500 for the season. And they said, I said, I want to work. I need to find a job, and I want someone to support my visa process as well. And I said, if that's possible. And he said, we will find you work. And that never happened though, but what they said, at that time. And that's how I went to Hoppers Crossing. And even I didn't know at that time, is this like a VTC? What's the competition like? I thought it's going to be the same cricket, like where it was North Melbourne. So that's how I missed the first 2 years on great cricket. So, but I know it was amazing to play for Hoppers Crossing at that time. And I think it was the actual a stepping stone or pathway for me to get into great cricket, then Bush Rangers, and then Australian setup.
Yeah, you took 90 wickets at 11 for Hoppers Crossing. So.
I'm shocked by that. I'm now going to reply to every Nigerian prince or emails just in case it's Fawad Alam. Fawad Ahmed on the other end.
I get those emails a lot as well from all the friends here.
I mean, what are they expecting when you roll out? I mean, you just sort of turn up, you bowl a few googlies at training, and they think, oh yeah, this guy's he's worth about $3,500. I mean, did they realize that they had a literally already capped first class Pakistani cricket playing at that time?
Yeah, I did told him, but as I spoke to the North Melbourne Cricket Club president, and I said, well, I played recently. I just literally left when I left Pakistan. I played 9 first-class games, and I bowled really well. I took wickets as well, and like a couple of pipers as well, and in a top condition over there, especially like in Karachi. You know, the conditions are very good for batting. So I said these are my recent. Like it's not like I played 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and I've been doing nothing, and now I want to play cricket here in Australia. But this is my recent. There was like 3 months ago. That's where I played, you know. And then they says, no, we wanna see you in nets, you know. And they said we don't believe like or whatever on internets, you know, like your stats or whatever they are. So when I went there, so he said we are happy to have you, but we're not gonna give you anything, like no money, and no, like we can't promise you a job or anything. I said, well, I'm actually not here for cricket. I want to find a safe life, you know, to adjust myself, and now I need to find a way, you know. I was like, I'm a very hardworking person, you know, like I'm still working hard, you know, with the whole body, you know, to getting there and playing around the world good cricket, but just with the hard work. So I said, well, I will find my way, you know, into the system, how to find jobs, how to find a better place to play good cricket as well, and making new friends. Like everything was new to me, like friends, and you know, even playing cricket in a different system, and everything was new for me. So it was just to find my ways, you know, how to. I didn't even knew about the recruitment agencies, you know, how you can find a work, you know, and then getting a car, how to get a car, and then license, you know. That was all those important things. So yeah, there was a reason. Yeah, they didn't knew when I went there to bowl in the nets, and they said, well, we would love to have you, you know. They said the way you bowl, the way you bat, you know, but that's the only reason we can't pay you.
Yeah.
Fawad, fast forwarding a little bit forward, you, according to, again, in Will's interview, you were coaching at the MCG, just looking at the Bushrangers bat. You were just watching, and you went up to Simon Helmet, the coach at the time, and said, I just need to have a bowl at these guys. And he didn't know who you were. He looked you up and down. They sort of made it look like, you know, you were barefoot. I doubt that's the case, but what happened after that?
I was actually at the level 2 coaching course. They says one day we're gonna go and have a look on the training session, Bushranger training session. I says, oh, that's nice, you know. And I knew like who's Cameron White, who's David Hussey, Chris Rogers there. Maxie didn't play at that time, neither Finchy played. Peter Sitter was there. There was few guys there, you know, they played for Australia already. So yeah, Simon is my coach now. He just told me the other day, who would have thought we're going to be together again in somewhere in Caribbean. So he's our coach. So I said, look, I went there, and we were just behind those nets, you know, near the rooms. And I did ask him, you know, he was down on the ground, and I think he was getting the balls or writing something. He was just busy with something. And he said, well, Mike, can I bowl? And he looked up and down to me. He said, what do you do? I said, I bowl spin. He said, what spin? I said, I bowl leg spin. He said, okay, come and bowl. So Bobby Coyne, I didn't know it was Bobby Coyne, and I thought he was tall and big, and I thought he's a fast bowler. I bowled first ball, went through the gap, indoor nets. You know, you don't think it's gonna spin that much, but it went through the gate. Bobby Coyne, and then I bowled the next one. I thought, this is the first ball. Look, second ball, he's gonna go and play by the spin, bowl a wrong one. When I bowled a wrong one, and he got beaten outside, he went on the other way. And when I look back, so everyone is watching me. And then Shippy came up to me, and he says, oh, what you doing here? And I said, well, I'm here for level 2 coaching. He said, no. Like in Australia, I said, I'll live here now, you know, permanently. I got here, and I want to live here. I want to play cricket. And then he said, who was coaching, I think, forgot the name. Someone was from Cricket Victoria. He was a coaching organizer, you know, like he was just teaching us everything. But he told him, yeah, he's going to stay with us. And then I didn't play that season. It was June. I missed out on the season 2010. We came from Pakistan, and no training whatsoever, no cricket. I was working at that time in the fields, you know, picking apples. And I bowled like for 40, 50 minutes, and I was so excited, you know, bowling those guys. Maxi was there, Finchy and Whitey. And for some reason, the ball was spinning big, you know, in indoor nets. You know, it was like unreal for some reason. So yeah, there was a turning point when I went back to the coaching class. I was almost done. I said, mate, I'm done. I can't be there. And I was literally falling asleep. I was tired when I went back to home. For the next couple of days, I couldn't move because I just bowled with no warm-up, with no exercise, nothing, without any training sessions. And then I gave my number to Simon, and he said, could you come, time to time and train with us, because we don't have any spinners. And Dutchy Holland was struggling at that time with injuries. He had like 3 reconstruction shoulders. Yeah, at that time I was just so excited, even taking a time off from the job. Even I said, well, I'm gonna go to train, and then was playing for Melbourne Uni, just T20s. You can play as a T20 player, and then I was training with Uni, playing for Hoppers Crossing, and training with Bush Rangers, and plus working in the warehouse. Yeah, good memories. It's almost 10 years now. It was 2011. So yeah, I amazing decade, amazing 10 years, in Australia. I thoroughly enjoyed, how I started, and it was amazing struggle. It was tough. It was really, really tough in every way, without far away, more than 10,000 miles away from family, learning English, it was learning all the slangs as well. It was so difficult in every way, and finding a job, finding a shelter, getting a car or a license, to be right on the road. It was a hell of a journey, but the things, for some reason, then the things happened very quickly. I know I couldn't accept it that in a good way. I would say sometimes I still, when I'm at home and just for myself, and I feel that, like I'm still feeling that I missed out. I was lost in there. It was, everyone was talking. Next Shane won taking. I took 7 wickets in the first game. I think 6 wickets in the second game, 4 or 5 wickets in the third Shield game. And in the one-day games, now when I realized, I went for like a couple of times against English line for 22 runs, 2 for 22, 2 for 23, like that. And now I realize it was bloody amazing, because just going from park cricket and playing against English lines or in a domestic setup and performing that well. But then when I got selected for Australia, traveling to England and then coming back with the citizenship problems, with the media thing, and I think I was lost there in a sense, because I was struggling a lot with media stuff, getting all those things. I couldn't get enough practice and those things before the games when I played, But it is what it is, like I'm very grateful and thankful, whatever happened, it happened for a reason. But yeah, it was amazing. It was really, really amazing, especially getting into that great cricket. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You must feel like, Fawad, it's lucky that those couple of balls to Rob Quiney came out well that day. Otherwise, you might be coaching 2s at Hoppers Crossing. It's a good thing. Good thing you didn't pick the wrong. And I was going to ask you. I've heard before that Damien Martin said that you were the best leg spinner since Shane Warne. We've had Shane Watson on the show before, who said that he thought that you were the best spinner to not play Test cricket for Australia. And that you were really mismanaged. I mean, what are your memories around coming into sort of the Australian team? I know you played for Australia 5 times, but into that Test team, especially around 2015, I think it was, during the Ashes. There, you're in the squad, but you didn't quite get a look in. What are your memories around the Australian team in that time?
The memories, like I would say, people realize about the mental stress and being alone. It was really tough journey for me, like even in 2013, going back to Australia from the tours. I've been on the few tours, with Aussie A, couple of tours, to England couple of times, then to Zimbabwe and South Africa, and performing really well on those tours, going back, and you just taking a cab and going to empty house, or different culture in Pakistan. There's a massive reception. People come, the relatives, like neighbors and your friends, and they will get together. And it's a bloody great achievement playing for your country, And there was nothing like that there, like I missed a lot of things. And then when 2014, it was a quiet year for me, and I went out, I played some club cricket, and in Holland and went on holidays, you know, to get refreshed, to get away from everything, all those media stuff and, you know, the hype and, you know, what happened, you know, like, and I went back and got relaxed, and then I took the most wickets for that season. I think I equaled the season with Netherlands, 60 odd wickets, something, with everything all together. So I got picked in Australian squad. I was in the best headspace. I thought I was bowling amazingly, you know, like, I remember these are the words from Brad Haddon. We were only 3-4 guys, because Australian team they were busy in the World Cup, and then they were on holidays. And then they asked me, I think myself, Brad Haddon, I think it was with Peter Neville. There was 2-3, you know, we were on 3-4 guys, and I was bowling in at Alan Borderfield and to Brad Haddon. Yeah, I was so excited, to go on both West Indian tour and to Ashes tour, and to perform well. I think I bowled really well at Antigua against the West Indies A, and then the rain came in for some reason. Myself and both Nathan Lyon, we didn't bowl well. I remember, you know, and before that I took 2 wickets in, I think, 3 overs, and then the rain came in, and then I think it was Carlos, there was his start of his career, and he was just slogging, you know. We were going there for Test cricket, and he was slogging everywhere, and he smashed, I think, more Nathan Lyon than me, but he smashed us. And then it was right in the media, electronic print, social media, everywhere, that he's going to be carrying drinks for both tours, 4 months long tour, and he's not going to be playing. And I just honestly couldn't handle it. You know, I remember I was in Dominica, literally tears comes, and I was upset. You know, there was no one to come and hold me or support me, you know, and that's like what I'm talking about, the mental stress and those things, you know. And I knew that, you know, like being a normal person and as a sensible man, that you think that, well, who's going to take a second spinner to Ashes, you know? And no one, even if I'm a selector or a coach or a captain, I'm not going to take second spinner, you know. And I was actually, they usually take 15 or 16. I was the 17 guy, just because I performed really well. They have to take me. So, and it was everywhere. He's going to be carrying this. He's going to never play again, you know. And it was everywhere just for some reason. And talking to selectors and, you know, like the officials. Rod Marsh was there, was the recent chairman, who's to resigned. Trevor Horns, and they says, I'll go back and perform well, and you will definitely get back. But I was upset with one thing, not with everything, but with one thing, especially when at that time, at the Ashes time, Aussie A Tour went to India. They were playing at Chennai. Sock went there. I think he took in 2 games 14 wickets or 13 wickets, something. Even what's his name, Gurinder Sandhu took 4 wickets in the second innings, bowling office, not fast bowling. And I said, look, I was talking to someone at that time, why they didn't send me over there. If we need you, if someone's getting injured, like that line, we can call you back. It's 7 hours flight from India into England, you know, and you can just play there, perform well next to Bangladesh as well. You perform well there, you know, because you are the best spinner in the country, you perform well. So now Nathan Lyon is there, he's playing. We don't need you. You go there, play A Tour. When I got back, got dropped from the state cricket. I was literally didn't went on the A Tour, and it was all faded. And I went on just playing Fred cricket. Melbourne.
Always there for you.
Yeah, I know where I have to come back. So yeah, it was tough at that time. There was the tough time, and then I realized, well, I didn't give up. You know, I think I still took 32 wickets that year in Shield cricket, and I bowled really well. But I think it was a grand final or before the grand final update here, 15-16. I bowled the 73rd or 74th over of the inning, and Dutch was bowling from one end. And then he took 7 for. No disrespect, he bowled really well. He deserved it. I know he's a great bowler. He's a class act. I know he had a lot of injuries, but then he went on the Sri Lanka tour then at that time. And then at that time, when it came to 2016, I said, well, think wisely. It was more about white ball cricket, you know. And then and for next 15, 16, 17, 18 until 19, those 5 years, I think as a spinner, I took the most wickets in the Big Bash as well, but never got a chance. Even I took 3 wickets against England in England in only second T20. It was 3 for 25 something, and never played. The next game was against England in Australia again, but then I got a call. Well, if you would try someone else, and that was the only response from them.
Oh, there's a bit in that, Fawad, as well. I mean, I want to ask you if you think you were treated fairly, but I feel like that would be many, many more hours and a very complex conversation, you know. One thing I do want to ask, though, is I have read that apparently through this time in the Aussie side, you became quite friendly with David Warner, which is not something that I had expected, and that you're great friends and that you gave each other plenty of stick, and you'd often find yourself struggling to reply to him, at which point you then said, well, you'd stand no chance if I was sledging you in my first language.
Oh, you know, Bull Davies, he's a great guy, but he's strange, you know, that in a way, the way his whole career is, you know, sums up. But I had a really good, like, I would say in a way, understanding with him, you know, because he says he grew up in the Western Sydney, and he been to like the school where all the people from subcontinent mostly, and he does knows about religion as well, Islam, and he knows a lot of things. He grew up with Uzi as well, and they played together for a long time as well. So yeah, we have some amazing time together, you know, like either breaking fast together, or he took me on a lunch on a eat day as well with his family. So, and yeah, well, we hang out a lot together, especially on those 2 tours. It was a long tour, long 4 months tour. So yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, I've met some good friends, you know. I know I became a really good friend with Water as well, because we played together for Sydney Thunder then, and then Pakistan, T10, everywhere together. So I played more with Watson than anyone else in Aussie squad. But yeah, had a great time with Bull. Yeah, it was amazing.
Well, speaking of you know, attacking quirky left-handed openers, you're obviously playing with St Kitts in the CPL at the moment, where Chris Gayle is the captain. I'm trying to get into the dressing room, Fawad. You know, metaphorically, I'm not actually trying to get into the dressing room.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
That would be funny because I'm Jarvo now. You know, but he's 42 in a couple of weeks. Chris Gayle, I think he's 42 in a couple of weeks. Yeah. I mean, take us into the dressing room when Chris Gale's giving a team talk. Is he still the prime alpha? As he get pole position in the dressing room? Does Rihanna come into the dressing room? What's going on in the CPL there?
Oh no, like with Rihanna, but yeah, he's still. DJ Bravo is the actual captain for us, but I think he still takes that leadership. You know, Chris been amazing. You know, I played with him in Canada. He was captain there as well. We won that competition, so I had some good time with him in Canada. But he's been amazing. Yeah, he's still leading from the front end. He's an old, you know, dog, but in a really good position, still hitting the ball better than anyone else. He struggled a little bit with the fitness because pretty hard here and back-to-back games, you know. I think then World Cup and IPL's coming, then World Cup following. So a lot of cricket coming as well. So he's looking after himself as well. But yeah, he's been great so far. You know, he's a leader. He was captain in the last game as well. A little bit more quieter than usual. His family is here as well, so But yeah, he's been great. Yeah, he's been so good for the team. St. Kitts has been struggling for the last few years, but DJ came in, and then Chris as well. They get together. They got some good players all together, from overseas and from Caribbean as well. So we have really good squad. We are on top of the ladder. We lost the last 2 games, but we have some injuries. I think we will bounce back in the next 3 games, but we're still on the top of the table.
But I suppose, and this is final one from me, everything that we've been talking about is really not important in relation to what's actually going on around the world, in particular in Afghanistan at the moment. I know you, media was reporting that, you came here because you fled the Taliban, and now the Taliban's back in Afghanistan. And there's questions about what's going to happen with the test match and what's going to happen with the women's team. I mean, what's your viewpoint, or what has been your viewpoint, I suppose, on what's been going on and the future of Afghanistan cricket, and even more broadly than that?
Oh, well, there was a massive difference. It's still a massive difference between what was happening in Pakistan and Afghanistan, so there's a completely 2 different things, like TTP and Taliban from Afghanistan. So they are completely different. They were their goals and their whatever they was completely different. But when it comes to cricket, I think I know a lot of Afghani cricketers. They're pretty close to me, and we have spoken before. I think they're all fine with it. So they says we don't see any problems, so far. They have moved on with the transition period of selecting a new chairman. They did say that the women's gonna play cricket as well. So that's very positive for that, especially both women and men's cricket as well, and even the other sports as well. So I know it's chaos. I know, but if it's they are fighting right now, but there was no fight at that time. I know people were leaving Afghanistan. There are, because they wanted to find a safe place, but they were thinking about what happened 25 years ago in Afghanistan when they came in. But they now saying they're completely different. They're understanding, they learned a lot in those 20 years, so might be, I don't know, if only the time will tell what's going to happen. But whatever they are saying, it's actually very positive in a sense, Other there are different stories, how they came in. I know there was no fight, but the evacuation of the Americans, of all the troops, even the Australians there were there, and then they leaving Afghanistan like that, and then the Taliban taking over, that's a completely different story. But if you look whatever they're saying, if they will do the same thing, I think that's very positive, because they're going to be in charge right now. I don't know how it's going to change unless American are taking again. I don't know. But at this stage, it's going to be there for a long time, because they came by power, and they're going to be there unless someone else fighting them, or maybe they will be here and there in all Afghanistan, like the way it's happening in Panjshir Valley. There is a massive, like a battle over there. So at this stage, I think the under-19 team is on the way somewhere. I think they went through Pakistan. They're flying somewhere. I think they're playing somewhere. I don't know, but I have seen somewhere a little bit. And yeah, I think they, at this stage, they were good. They want to continue with everything, and they want to have support, especially from the bigger countries, to revive the country, and hopefully they will be on the road.
Fawad Ahmed, thanks so much for that answer, and also for the broader interview, mate. I know we've taken up a lot of your downtime with back-to-back cricket at the CPL. Mate, thanks for your story. Thanks for everything you've given Australian cricket as well. And I know you're an old rooster, but you're still kicking on. You've probably still got more BBL medals in you, and you're going to be spinning more webs as time goes on. So really appreciate it, mate, and we'll catch you next time.
No worries, man. Thanks for having me.
Hashtag AskTGC, Pairsy lad. Now, do you want to read this one?
Yeah,
It was sent to you. Do you want to do the backstory to it? Or?
Oh, there's a little bit of backstory. Well, thank you to everybody who writes in AskTGC questions, and we appreciate how they come in, and we also appreciate that we've never really been specific about where we'd like them to come in. We just go and grab them. We especially Higgins, I should say, with respect, hoovering them up from wherever wherever you can send them on the internet. I got a text from my cousin who doesn't really listen to the show.
Perfect.
Wonderful relationship with him. Good man. I was going to say good boy because it's sort of in my head. He's younger than me.
Okay.
And there's other therapy stuff there. But he's a good man, and he got in touch with me to say he's a friend of his loved the show and really wanted to submit an AskTGC. So he sort of got my number.
That's so unnecessary. There's
but I
7 different channels.
Appreciated it.
Sure.
He wanted it in, and so
I think he was letting you know that he knows one of the guys from the Great Cricketer.
Do you? Okay. Toby Miles writes in. Now I'm just checking he's not asked for this to be anonymous.
Well, too late now.
He writes in, "Hi boys, I'd like to draw on a couple of points of discussion you've had recently for this, including the idea of the unscrupulous use of footmarks on Uluru." Back to the feed again. We're talking about footmarks on Uluru in the Patreon show.
Just yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's just people walking up Uluru.
Or was that YouTube? I was one of them. Whatever. Yeah.
Walking up Uluru with the same. Yeah, it's just footmarks.
It's footmarks.
To preface, this story is grim and perhaps a little bit lowbrow, but I'm wary of the depths Higgins is willing to stoop for content. So there's a preface for you. I live in a country outback town in New South Wales. Cricket here is proper bush. Last year, a guy got 50 in a singlet. If you want cordial at the tea break, you fucking drive 2 hours to Dubbo and you get it. You get the vibe. This town's one pub is the social hub of the cricketers, and occasionally I get into verbal stoushes at the pub with some of the more stubbornly conservative members of the public. Yeah. After hearing you link cultural icon Uluru to cricket so seamlessly recently, it reminded me of a disagreement I'd had with a more senior local when the NT government banned climbing the rock at the end of 2019. A good decision. Oh, who the fuck do I know? I'll set the scene with the usual... rabble and Channel 9 News, brackets, they play Sky there now, close brackets, blaring in the background, some official announcing the closure. Okay, so this is now read like a script, right? Punter says, "Fuck me." Me. "What's wrong, Heath?" Punter. "Can't do anything anymore." Me. "How so?" Punter. "Climb Ayers Rock." Me. "Would you, mate? That's not really on. I mean, it's a bit disrespectful, isn't it?" Punter says, "I would again, won't be able to now." Me. "You've climbed it?" Punter. "Yep, about 15 years ago. Took the kids and that." Me. "How was it?" Punter. "View was good." Me. "The experience, was it actually worth it?" Punter. "Yep, it was good." Me. "Righto." Pause. I'm just going to go back and forth now. Shat myself, but maybe you should be me.
Too late now.
Okay. Sorry? On the way up, I shat myself. You pooed your pants. Had crook guts from servo food. Slipped in it a bit. Got to the top, though. Slipped in it. Jesus Christ, mate. And Punter just nods. Mate, what'd you do? Took my undies off when I reached the top. I left them up there, but... I was aghast and immediately numerous questions were swarming through my head. Have I been in this town too long? Were Heath's soiled underpants a driving force behind the long overdue decision to stop people climbing? With this image now implanted in my head, would I ever turn up again at local level? Yes was the answer to that last question. Scored 4 the following season. Whilst this story to many could symbolise and perfectly capture the ignorance and arrogance of white Australia, and it probably does, could you please put the debacle into grade terms? We should have back and forth that script. I realise that.
Well, hindsight. Thanks, Toby, for the question. Now, I presume the guy that he spoke to, he's referred to him as Punter. I presume that wasn't Ricky Ponting. That couldn't be an easy mistake to make. Ponting Wines, though. This is an ad for Ponting Wines. I think this story is actually about him turning up 4 times the following year wearing a singlet. This is one of the most.
You found this quite disgusting.
I found this one of the most.
You found this vile.
I find it vile in the sense that, okay, guy shat himself. It wasn't that. It was the complete disrespect to the Indigenous population. And we were talking before about, like, okay, climbing the rock, no good. Indigenous people have a strong connection to it. I do not. I think it's a nice thing, and I've never actually been to it. I would like to go see it. I don't need to climb it. Nothing to see out there anyway. Punter says view was good. The disrespect shown to this incredibly important heritage landmark of the Indigenous population is like, yeah, shat myself. I took my underwear off and I just left it up there.
Oh, it's just hate, really.
Yeah.
It's just hate.
So I find it vile in that respect. I mean, who hasn't shat themselves at some sort of theme park?
I was going to say, I mean, they've just won. India have just won the crucial fourth test to go 2-1 up against England away from home.
Yeah.
Our own captain shat himself when we did that.
But how's that not? That's not spoken about enough.
Perhaps the punter was just taken after the skipper.
Yeah, in homage to Tim Payne.
We're all shitting ourselves, aren't we?
How come no one's spoken about that? Like,
I mean,
that's just not really a story. We tried to pick it up, and it was like, yeah, that was the thing that happened. We asked Travis Head. We asked.
Yeah, I actually felt quite gross just talking about it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, this is. I don't know what to do with this. I mean, yeah. So I just found it vile, and I was like, "What the fuck is this cunt doing?" That's what I thought.
Well, you've just put it into grade terms.
Yeah. What the fuck is this cunt doing? It's disgraceful.
Yeah.
Does that do it justice?
Congrats on the 4 tons, Toby.
Yeah. Well done, Toby. What about it?
I just cannot remember if he wanted it anonymous. Well, Toby, you'll be right. People don't care about you as much as you think.
Given Fawad went for, I think we've got enough time here, Pez. Given the interviews in the show as well. All right, thank you so much to Jonathan Liew. Thank you so much for Fawad as well for joining us over there in the CPL. Thank you so much for getting around us for the last little bit. The 5th test starts on Friday. Hashtag AskTGC Friday is also out on Friday. And some stuff on YouTube as well. You know where to find us all over the internet. We'll see you next time on the Great Cricket Podcast. Cheers.